There we go.
Here we go. Welcome, everyone. We are doing our webinar today with Dr. Victoria McDonald, who is a concierge pharmacist, and she is on the more natural side of things. She works with people to help empower them in their health overall so that they can live a more holistic lifestyle. So I thought she was the perfect person to join us today to give us more of the breakdown, the basics of metabolism. It's such a complex topic, and there are so many aspects to it, and sometimes it feels confusing, and Victoria is the perfect person to help go through the basics with us, help educate us on why we're focusing on this, why this is such an important area of our life, our everyday life, and our long-term wellness and longevity. So I have known Dr. Victoria for several months now. We've been working together on different projects, and I'm just thrilled to have her here today. I'll let her introduce herself a little more and more about her 10 years in practice.
Hello, everybody. So I am a concierge pharmacist. I have been in the pharmacy space for many, many years, and I have learned and seen so many things. Oftentimes, doctors just are ready to throw a medication at a problem instead of digging deeper and really asking why. Why is this happening? What's causing it? When I take a blood pressure medication, am I deficient in whatever that medication is? Not likely. So that's usually how we need to fix things, is fixing what is the underlying issue. And that is what I am passionate about. And I also get answers from our bodies, looking at genetics to fill in those gaps, to really connect what you're deficient in and the why. And so I do want to bring that into metabolism, because metabolism is really the energy that helps us to get up in the morning. It helps us to have energy to function and to do breathing and sleeping, reading books, being here today and watching this. So let me just backtrack a moment. Metabolism, what is it not? So very oftentimes we think that if we're a large individual, we have a slow metabolism. And if we are a skinny individual, then we have a fast metabolism. And that's not often the case. We have this very kind of misnomer connection of what is fast and what is slow metabolism. And it's very something that we need to kind of break the habit of, because metabolism is how our body processes energy. So food, nutrients go into our body breaks it down. And I actually have a graphic, so let me pop up my graphic just a moment. So this is like the very basic, like I said, food comes into the body, nutrients, and our body uses it to energy, it converts it, and creates heat. That's one reason why we're so warm. But then also it goes to other processes in the body. But it has waste. That's why we go to the bathroom. That's why we exhale carbon dioxide. And so it's just an energy process, just a chemical process, but it happens all the time. It happens 24/7. It doesn't matter if we're running and jumping. It doesn't matter if we're sleeping. It doesn't matter if we're old or we're young. Our metabolism, like how our body converts energy, is pretty much stationary or stagnant, not stagnant, level, I should say level, from when we're 20 to 60. Things do change before that and after that, but it stays pretty regular, and it does adapt to what our body needs. So if we are running more marathons, our body needs more energy. It needs more fuel to feed that fire. But if we are laying on the couch, being a couch potato and just binging Netflix or what have you, we don't need as much energy. And so our body doesn't require it. But what happens to the excess? The excess, it gets stuck on there, stuck on our bodies. That's why we get these fat pudges and love handles. But it's important to really pay attention to what's going in as far as the energy that we're consuming, the fuel, and paying attention to what our body's expending. And so I just wanted to change this graphic one more time. Sorry, just a moment. So this is a breakdown. So make sure. Do you guys see a picture of a red woman? Okay, just double checking. Okay. So this is kind of a breakdown of how our body uses energy that comes in. And so there is some leftover after our different organs use it. And then there's some that go to whatever activities we're a part of. And then what we need for actually digesting that food, breaking it down in the first place, that chemical process. But that leftover, that's what creates that love handles. So it's really important to pay attention to how much is coming in, how much our body is needing, so that we're not overfilling that cup. Now, I do have an analogy that I really think it's fun. It's a silly analogy, but it's fun at the same time. But I want you to think about us as magical balloons. So we're balloons that can never pop, but we have a tiny little leak. So every time we're pumping up our balloon, we're consuming more food, we're pumping up our balloon and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If we are pumping it up faster than that leak, so the energy that we're using, our physical energy, all the body systems that we have are using some of that energy, and that's causing the leak. If we're pumping it up faster than that leak is going, the balloons can get bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I said, this is a magic balloon, never bursts. So it's just going to keep going and going and going. But if we start going a little bit slower of how much we're putting into the balloon versus how much is leaking out, then it starts to go down and it starts to go down. But you never want to pull out the plug and stop pumping up the balloon. That's kind of where this analogy goes awry, because our bodies need energy all the time. If we stop feeding our body, lots of things go haywire. Our body gets into starvation mode and starts hoarding onto nutrients, and it doesn't actually spend the energy. We get more and more tired, and it just throws all of our body systems out of whack. So it's something to be careful of, and it's finding that sweet spot, that balance of what is too much and what is too little as far as when we're pumping up that balloon. And it does change. So like I said, it does stay pretty much even from our 20s to our 60s, but there are things that can impact it. So I really want you to think about where you are in your life journey. Are you young? Are you old? Because that can impact it. Your age does. Your gender impacts it. Men typically have a faster metabolism, but that's due because they typically have a higher muscle mass. It's not necessarily because they're men versus women, but just because they have a higher muscle mass. That muscle, it burns energy faster. It consumes that energy. It's like a fire that just burns so much faster than fat, which is one reason why we need physical exercise, and we need to move our bodies and build that muscle mass so that our bodies can move. I can't pick things up if I have no muscles that in my arms, but we also need to burn that energy. And then physical activity is a huge factor as well on our metabolism. Whether or not we're sedentary and whether or not we're moving around, whether or not we're prepping for the Ironman or a big marathon. Wherever we are, we have to compensate what's going in with what our body is using. Now, another thing that impacts our metabolism, impacts that leak in the balloon, is our genetics. So our genetics, we can't really control, and we don't always have a good set of information what our family history is and how that impacts us. So just looking at your mom and dad and whether or not they seem to be able to balance what they put into their bodies as far as their energy expenditure isn't easy to see. But really getting a genetic test or getting more information there can help you to build a blueprint of what your body actually needs and what it's built for. And then another huge factor on metabolism is smoking. Smoking actually speeds up your metabolism, which is why oftentimes some people, when they quit smoking, they start to put on the pounds, as well as they feel like that snacky feeling because their body needed more energy before they quit. So the body's like, I need it. Wait, I don't need it. I'm confused. All right, so I'm just going to store this for later because I think I'm going to need it again. So the body is so insightful. It's really just trying to protect us and trying to keep these energy stores for when we don't necessarily have them. And in this day and age, we are surrounded by energy sources. We can go everywhere. The grocery store has all kinds of fast acting energy, like the refined sugars. You can get candy anywhere. But there's also ones that go a little bit slower and your body takes some time to break down, and really it ends up being longer lasting energy, which is better for your body instead of having these huge spikes and increases from the sugar. So does anybody here think they might have slow or sluggish metabolism?
I would say it felt like mine slowed down over the past couple of years, and I think primarily due to stress and then not having access to or not following through on physical activity and changing eating habits. So I'm working on revamping, resetting, improving.
That's perfect. And our bodies are so flexible and manipulatable that they can handle that. They can handle the reset, and they can handle the shift because they adapt. But they don't take an instant to adapt. It is an ongoing process because the body's worried that it's going to be taken away from them. Whatever this change is, it's worried about what's a worse change coming. So it really tries to protect itself with that energy source. And so it's great that means that you can start anytime though, to adapt and change to a new and better, healthier choices and more activity. It doesn't have to be perfect because the body will kind of even it out. So if your goal is to do 5 days a week of activity, 30 minutes or more, and you make it 4 days this week, your body can figure it out. It can balance out what you need and what you don't need. So it's really adaptive that way. So I did want to show another graphic of some other signs that your body might be showing some fatigue or showing some slow metabolism. And so actually sleep. If you are just constantly tired throughout the day, or if you're having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep throughout the night, your metabolism can be out of whack. Just your body needs sleep for so many different processes in the body that if you're taking that sleep away, or if your body's energy sources are out of whack in other areas, it impacts your sleep. So the sleep ends up kind of being that cleanup opportunity for your body to make those adjustments, to clean up any toxins out of your body, to recalibrate. But if you don't give your body that opportunity, or other factors are coming in and not allowing you to sleep, throwing your circadian rhythm out of balance, then it's also going to affect your metabolism. So it's like this cycle that is just ongoing. Something else, some other symptoms of your metabolism being kind of out of whack would be feeling cold all the time. If your body can't get energy to the extremities, your fingers and toes, then it's going to pull all of its heat sources back into the middle and just keep your core warm. Thinning hair, brittle nails, low sex drive, even just dry, cracking skin. All of these can really be indicators that there's something else going on. So we just need to ask a deeper why. It may be metabolism related. It may be something else related. And this is why it's important to ask those questions and get deeper into it, because so many doctors will look at, okay, you have X, Y, and Z, therefore it must be your thyroid. Instead of going, X, Y, and Z could be thyroid, it could be depression, it could be a mineral imbalance, it could be something else entirely. And really, instead of doing that kind of guess and check, oh, I guess it wasn't your thyroid, let's try something else now. Asking that deeper why and figuring it out like a puzzle, putting all the pieces together is really, really critical. And I apologize. So when we're thinking about things that can help keep our metabolism in its optimum form, it really comes down to, there's about 5 pillars of metabolic health that really are where we want to put our focus. That's nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, and supplements, just because we need to fill in those gaps. So I'm going to go into those different pillars really quick, just to hit all where we need to put a little bit more focus on. So with nutrition, it's so important to know that everybody's different. All of our needs are different, and really paying attention to what is perfect for somebody else is not necessarily perfect for me. So paying attention to that as far as what you're consuming is important, but also knowing that restricting your calories is not a good idea, especially if you restrict it too far. Like I said with that balloon, if we're not feeding, I guess it's really more the fire analogy, but if we're not feeding the fire can't burn. And so we need that energy. We need to put something into our body so it can function. But some things to avoid: fried foods, refined sugar. Avoid foods that cause inflammation. And that can be these ultra processed foods. Gluten affects some people by causing inflammation. Artificial sweeteners and dyes. Looking at these hydrogenated and trans fat oils or fats can really also make the metabolism a little bit more sluggish, because the body doesn't know what to do with these things. And when it doesn't know what to do with them, it goes, I might need that later. I'm going to hold on to that and see if we need this later. And so where does it go? It goes to our love handles again. It goes to our fat pudges, and we get to save it for who knows when. Some things to add to the diet to make sure that we are eating a balanced diet. We want to have lots of healthy proteins and fruits and vegetables and whole grains. Foods that are high in probiotics or antioxidants are really helpful as well, really kind of giving that body a boost, kind of an energy drive. Green tea and coffee are helpful. There's some debate about how helpful they are. So just making sure that you don't overdo it. You don't want to be pounding the caffeine, but green tea does have lots of other antioxidant benefits and other nutrients as well. So it's helpful as long as you don't overdo it. And then, so thinking about movement now, the second pillar, it's really about getting up every day and moving around. You can have a little dance party with yourself. You can, just walk up and down the stairs a little bit more, park furthest away in the parking lot, take the stairs versus the elevator, but just getting moving every day and finding those opportunities to move a little bit more. You can definitely do an exercise plan. You can do the high intensity training, the resistance training, the strength training, focusing on your cardio. All of that is excellent as well, but it really starts with those baby steps and just making sure that you are moving every day. And then sleep, the third pillar, is super critical. Like I said before, if you don't give your body that time to rest and reset, your body just holds off of things, or it ends up putting it on the to-do list. I'll do that later. And so if you want your body to take out the trash and it's been putting it off for 3 weeks, months, all of that garbage, all that toxins just build up in the body, and they start to end up hurting the body. It can impact, like I said, your metabolism, how well your body is able to use those food sources as energy. It impacts whether or not your body can use the insulin hormone, and whether or not you can lose weight, whether or not you can store foods in the appropriate way versus just as fat. It also can in fact impact your blood pressure and your cholesterol. It can also, so the fourth pillar is stress, regarding your stress. And so chronic stress, that stress over time really just adds up. So instead of your body being able to calm down and have that restful moment and to be able to take out the trash and to reset and recalibrate, your body is going, okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Like a scared animal. And your body is just in that, I need to anticipate what's happening, instead of, okay, I'm safe. I can take care of myself. I'm okay. And so we really need to practice more stress management, because that when we get stressed, we also tend to eat more and tend to have other unhealthy habits. One of the best ways that I like to deal with stress is really meditation. And it can be short meditation. It can be just a couple of minutes. There's some people who like to do practices that are a little bit longer or even an hour. So it really is something that you can bring into your day, whatever works for you. Breath work is also very amazing. I know that Wendy shared, I think it was a 4-minute breath work. Was it 4 or 5 minute breath work session? 5 minutes. That was just amazing. And that's something that you can just squeeze 5 minutes into your day anywhere and just do a quick reset and a stress reduction and just take a moment. And breathing we can do everywhere. It doesn't have to be on a special mat, in a special room with special music. It can just be wherever you're at. And then the 5th pillar is supplementation. Just our bodies can get a lot of what they can out of the foods that we have around us. Trying to eat organically, eat grass-fed and ranged, but making sure that not all of those, or a lot of the grass and the ground and the soil have been depleted so much that sometimes we need to add on a little bit of extra stuff just to compensate. So making sure that your iodine levels, your selenium levels, L-glutamine, and your essential fatty acids are where they're supposed to be. And everybody is a little bit different about what they need, but oftentimes those particular ones, your body can take what it needs and get rid of any extra. But it is something to pay attention to. What are you lacking? Because unfortunately, the foods that you're consuming are also lacking in them. And that's not anything we can really control at this point. We've just gone so far into the genetically modified foods or mass production of foods that it's started to take its toll. Now, I do just want to wrap this up. I know I went really fast. I do apologize, everybody, for speaking so fast.
It's okay. They'll have the recording.
But I just want to mention again that how genes or your genetic makeup can impact your metabolism.
I was recently reading, because a lot of people and genes are important and genetics are important, and all of these lifestyle areas are big ways we can contribute to improving our health. And I'll just circle back to the stress part. I noticed this morning, it's a bit of a stressful morning for me and a bunch of different obstacles coming in. And oh my goodness, I'm just so much more aware of lately of the food that I'm eating and how it's impacting me. And the higher my stress got, the more intense my sugar craving got. And I was like, whoa. So, I mean, I took some oils and used those for sugar cravings, but it was strong, almost like I really had to combat that craving. Like, oh, I didn't like this. So 2 years of stress. No wonder my metabolism's out of whack.
But yeah, it is important. So sometimes our body is sending those messages to protect us, but they're not necessarily serving us because our body is still very much in this caveman mode, that it's worried that we're going to be attacked around every corner or that our sources of food are no longer going to be available. And we're not there yet. We have food abundance and it's available so prevalently. So we need to kind of ignore some of those cravings, that we don't need that immediate sugar rush to combat that stress because we're worried that there's going to be a lion jumping out at us, because there's not a lion. It's just us getting in our heads or our lives getting so busy or even out of control sometimes. But being able to go, okay, there's no lion. I don't need this immediate sugar rush. I can eat something that's going to serve me a little bit better, serve me a lot better, and just make those healthier choices and calm down and say, there's no lion. There's no lion. But so your genetics impact how well your body can manage that stress, what it does with the cortisol that goes up when you're feeling that stress, and then how your body reacts to that stress when it is in that kind of scared mode. But when your cortisol or your stress levels go up, your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, your body feels like it needs to hold on to things a lot more because it doesn't know what's coming. So it stops the digestion process. It stops the removing of the toxins out of the body process. It stops everything because it's just waiting for what's going to attack. But really understanding where your genetics play into that and how much your particular body does in what way is helpful to create a plan and to create a way to know, okay, gluten is a no-no for my body, or my body has a tendency to not understand when it's full. So what can I do about that? Or what kind of exercises are best for my body? Your genetics actually has a blueprint and an answer for all of that. It's just waiting to be read. And that's actually where I come in. I have the specialty training in reading people's blueprints. And I really invite you to get on a call with me that we can go a little bit deeper in that and see what your body is telling you about you that you may not have known before. And so I do want to open the floor up now to any questions specifically. I know that Wendy was monitoring the chat.
Yeah. So Kathy was actually asking a little more about liver.
Okay.
Notice that the liver takes the most energy and it's the organ connected to being hot or angry when things are out of whack. Can you please speak more to liver health and how this might connect in with metabolism?
So of course, so the liver is one of those unsung organs. Unfortunately, it just does not get a lot of credit for being this ultrafiltration and processing component. So that's really where all the nitty-gritty cellular breakdown happens for metabolism, for medications, for anything that's going in your body. And that is also where some of the transfer happens between these teeny tiny molecules that they have just been broken down and into the bloodstream. The liver is also a huge filtration device. And that's one reason why alcoholics, their livers tends to go first, because the body is trying to filter out all of the alcohol out of the blood. But it's this giant filter, like a coffee filter. But if it gets used over and over and over again without giving the chance to heal and replenish, then it just gets dirty and gross and gunky. One of the reasons it uses so much energy is because the liver is one of the few organs that can heal itself, that can actually grow and create new cells. And so it gets clogged occasionally, and it can remove that clog or, cut out the piece of the clog and create a new filter part. And so that's how the liver is able to clean itself and to get and repair itself. And that's one reason why it does require so much more energy. It's because it's doing all of this filtration and breaking down, but then also it needs the energy to repair itself and to create new cells to continue that process. And it is going to be hot because that process of breaking things down just generates heat. It's a byproduct of that breaking down. So does that answer your question, Kathy? Okay, perfect.
That was a great explanation. And as we clean up our nutrition and move our bodies more and reduce our stress levels and drink more water and use our oils that support a healthy liver, we're going to be able to add to or support liver regeneration and function even better as we're detoxing too through this process. So that was a great question, Kathy.
And it's all about up-leveling our choices. Like every time we come to a decision, do I drink a sugary soda? Do I drink green tea? Just looking at those two options. Okay, I should do the green tea today. And then maybe looking at packages and different foods. Do I choose the grass-fed beef? Do I choose the regular or the non-grass-fed beef? Like just looking at your options and just going with what is kind of an up-level choice. And sometimes we don't have all of the options to go organic on everything and grass-fed on everything and free range on everything, but just making smart choices. There are some foods that it makes a bigger impact, whether or not it's organic or not. There's other chemicals in shampoos and personal hair care products that you can start to up-level some of those choices, getting away from those perfumes, the artificial dyes, the different scents and flavorings that they have, getting away from that and just choosing a better option, even if it's not the be-all end-all super clean option, is even a better step in the right direction. So just making small changes, those small steps is huge.
Yeah. We have been starting to educate more too on macros, counting or looking at your macros in your plate versus counting calories and that. And I think that is something that in our education system, they focus a lot on calories in my kids' classes, and I teach my kids differently. Like, don't pay attention to that as much as this, and this.
Yes,
So
where those calories come from makes so much more of a difference versus just calories in general.
yeah, because you can have low calorie and low sugar, and it can be horrible for you and have very little nutritional value, or be synthetic. And then your body, like you said, your body doesn't know what to do with it. And where's it going to store it? So wonderful. Well, anything, if there's nothing more now, and obviously if there is, keep going, but guys, if you're watching the recording of this, and you're on, let's say, our Facebook group, then just post your questions in the comments and we will circle back to them, and Dr. McDonald will come back and look at those as well. And any other questions? Kathy, you have any more? Kathy says this is really important for her because she's over 60, and it is, important to continue working on our metabolic health, not just weight, but metabolism, overall metabolic health as we age, so that all those factors that want to try to slow it down, we can combat a bit more and work on. And that's like the huge excitement for me in the metabolic challenge that we're doing, is that we're looking at a holistic picture, and people can take bits and pieces of each part and do that small up level or that next baby step. And once you experience integration of that step or success in an area, like, hey man, I am sleeping better, my sleep monitor is showing I'm sleeping better, then you can take on a next step instead of trying to overhaul everything at once, which we know doesn't always lead to success because it's overwhelming. So we are super grateful that you joined us today. And you guys reach out to Dr. Victoria if you would like to learn more about the genetic side of things. She does some fascinating things. And I hope to have her on again with you guys, just so that we can tap into more of what she does, because she's got such an incredible practice that she does, and many offerings to help people become empowered and more holistic in their health. Well, I'll end the recording for now, and thank you so much for that. Oh, actually, I'll put it in the comments, but I'll put, in the recording and in the notes for this, I'll make sure I share your link so that they can connect in with you. And you guys, if you're not part of the Metabolic Reset, maybe you found this through social media instead, I'll put the connections there too. That's our free 6-week challenge with a 4-week lead up. So it's like a 10-week challenge, but we're covering a huge amount of information, knowledge, tips, tools, and resources to help you gain more power in this area of your life. All right. Thank you.